Welcome to Purple Rain Sports, rulers of the airway. We are the one and only podcast featuring Wildcat Sports. I am your host, La Voz de los Gatos, BDE 76. Joining me as always, our producer / co-host, Mr. Albert Sosa. Wildcat Insiders, Mr. Sam Castro, Mr. Alan Sanchez, and taking us back to the old school. Y'all know his name, y'all know his number 51, Brian Perez. Last but not least, providing technical support, Double J.
Welcome to Purple Rain Sports, Area 51, home of number 51.
Yeah.
Purple Rain Sports, episode 11, season 4.
Season 4.
In this episode, we will be talking about a couple of hot topics. One being the main thing, the Carrizo Springs Wildcats losing, unfortunately, to the Crystal City Javelinas, and I normally don't say that name, but
At this point,
we have some things. We appreciate everybody listening, and I don't even know how to start it off, to be honest with you.
Well, according to what you told us today, it seems like there's a little bit of pettiness going on at the helm over there when it comes to the Wildcat football. The thing is that Purple Rain Sports, since we started, have always been as positive as we can about things. Sometimes there's going to be what you might call negativity, but we would call it maybe being real or maybe a little constructive in our criticism, stuff like that. But, I don't think it should be taken to heart because, one, we're not the ones out there on the sideline or out there on the field. We're just a bunch of guys that are just have an opinion.
Well,
at what point is it wrong to have an opinion?
Well, one thing that we would like to point out that we've said from the beginning of our podcast when we first started this, that we have no affiliation with the school, that we are a bunch of guys that like to talk sports about our local team, which is the Carrizo Springs Wildcats. And, Wildcat Nation, I was informed today that this last home game that I'm not going to be able to announce, this is not a decision made on my part. I got a call from the AD today, and he said that he was going to have to disassociate himself with Purple Rain Sports and take a different path on what we do and what we say. And with that being said, that he wouldn't be able to have me or my guys up in the press box. So Wildcat Nation, I'm sorry I won't be able to be out there with y'all. Y'all won't be able to hear my wisecracks. What's going to be selling at the concession stand.
Your energy, man.
My whole thing is that his disassociation, I think he's doing that on more of a personal level, because if he was a professional about it, then anything that anybody says, whether in the stands or whether in the outside of that stadium, anybody that doesn't work for him, anybody that doesn't play for him, it shouldn't really matter.
Nope.
And when I say pettiness, I think that's what it is. I don't know the man personally, and I don't have anything against the man, but I would hate to think that his pettiness carries on to others that might be associated with, say, Purple Rain Sports. Obviously, he is. He doesn't want. Ernest, how long have you been doing the announcing? You had a little break in there.
We talked about that. I think I took a 2-year break.
Since 02?
Probably since 02, 03.
02?
So.
I mean, come on. That Ernest, honestly, for the last decade, pretty much is the voice of Wildcat Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
And then this guy that, he's AD and he puts the work in and he's come in and he's done what he could with the team. But I kind of feel like he's going to be a fly-by-the-night kind of guy. He's going to be gone before anything. The way I see it. Not that we don't want him here.
We don't want.
But these guys come in and they, it's kind of like a notch in their belt. They get that experience for their resume, and then they're gone. And that wasn't the case with previous ADs. I mean, the other guy that was here before him did 3 years, and he kind of really didn't want to go, but it was just something that happened. So this guy, it's just.
Going on off that pettiness, there's other ways to take care of situations like this, but to just like you say now, that seems to be personal on his part, where to disassociate us.
To be honest with you guys, like I have so many mixed feelings about it. I'm not upset. You know, I don't want to make this episode our last episode of Wildcat football. Hopefully the Wildcats win and they make the playoffs. You know, I don't want to take anything away from the team.
Nope.
What we do here and what we've always done is spoken about Wildcat football or Wildcat sports, which, you know, we're going to talk about the cross country, how they did, volleyball, how they did, you know, and by no means I know that there's, you know, some of the team listens, which if it's male or female or what, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take anything away from you guys. I just felt that some of this needed to be put on the open. I don't want any questions. Maybe they might be asked Friday night why I'm not announcing. I did not
make that decision.
I didn't make that decision. It was made for me.
It was made for us.
So once again, Wildcat Nation, I apologize that I am not going to be able to do that last game with you. Just bear with us, and, you know.
I don't like it. I don't like the decision that was made because it not only, he has his personal feelings, and it affects the community. It affects the kids out there. They're not going to have a familiar voice that they listen to every night. Everybody that goes out there on the Friday nights, it's the people in the stands and the people on the field is what matters. Yes, these guys are out there. They're coaching. They put in the extra time. You know, I can't say anything bad about coaches because they do a lot of stuff that they don't get paid for.
They do
a lot of work.
And I think it's great. It's great at what they do, but they have to understand that criticism is part of the job. I mean, I worked at the hospital for many years, and you don't know how many times I've heard people say, "Oh, you just go to the hospital to die." You know what I mean?
But
so
you said it. You said a key word right there, and we won't talk about this the whole beginning of the first segment. But you said a key word that if you're part of the staff, you're paid, and you put your time in. That's the key word there. All of the time, anytime that you saw me or my guys, which I would like to take this time to thank you, Sam, you, Double J, for helping me out run the music. Brian Perez has been there with me from the beginning.
From the beginning,
folks.
buddy.
Yeah.
From the first time that I announced, Brian was there with me. JD Moreno and Joe Cruz. My statistician, Joe Cruz. Mm-hmm. My two spotters, Joe. Joe was my statistician. Brian, JD. Jeffrey started out.
We had Jeffrey out there
J.
too, Big J.
So I want to thank all those guys that took the time out of their day, whether they had somebody or didn't have somebody playing, to go out there and help me, and provide a service for the community.
You know, the problem I have, I'm starting to get a little bit more upset as time goes by, because now that I think about it, he wants to disassociate himself from Purple Rain Sports, but we've been doing this for 4 years, and nobody else in all the years previous ever even thought about doing anything like this. You know, they do it, up north a little bit, but they haven't done it the way we do it. We have totally promoted Wildcat Sports the best that we could and try to be out there for the community for no personal gain whatsoever. Yeah, it's pretty cool to be in HB and somebody comes up to, hey, Sam, Purple Rain, whatever, and that's awesome. But it's about the kids, about these boys.
Well, you know what?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
and
agree
you
with
know,
but-
Ernest, hold on.
Well, let me.
You have handled this with more grace than I think anybody could. But I'm going to be honest with you and say, man, for him to say to disassociate with Purple Rain Sports is ridiculous. It is ridiculous because we did our first show based on him to welcome him into Wildcat Nation. Yes, he's a paid employee, whatever it is. He took a job and he's done his job, but we didn't. We welcomed him. We were cool with him. And now he's gonna disassociate because we made a few comments on one of the other shows, and he sees it as negativity. But I think he sees it as a personal shots, and we never took anything personal because we don't.
I think the whole thing is that maybe we are being used, or I'm being used, or Purple Rain is being used as a deflector of what's going on, maybe what happened last week or happened this season. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We understand as a coach that you can't control how your players play, but there's certain things that you can do as a coach to help your team out. And
you're not going to control the community.
You're not going
to control the people that are out there in the stands yelling, and you're not going to do that. And I think for somebody that has experience in coaching, even Sosa could tell you, you're going to hear a lot of stuff, and you start to take that stuff personally, and you start to lash out on people that are actually promoting your program and your kids. You know, I mean, you don't project your crap on us, man, because we were there for the Wildcats.
And I guess what it is
game.
even with previous administrations, we've said what we said, and we were critical, but it was from week to week. We said it for 1 week that we were critical for 1 week, and by the next podcast, it was gone. Coaches would talk to us. They'd come on our show from other sports and from football as well. They had no problem with it because even if we were critical for that one game, they let it go and let's go to the next one. And then we might not be as critical or we won or whatever happened, was more positive. But I think that's what it is. Ever since we started coaching, it's you take it with a grain of salt, take it game to game and move on. I mean, you can only control what you can control.
Man, we could be sitting here talking all night and be negative and be critical about the game this past week, but that's not going to change the outcome of the game. And it's obviously, the thing is that, I mean, I don't know, man. I'd hate to think that he took it so personal to where it affected some of the players out there on that field or maybe somebody in the future. I don't know. I'd hate to even think about that.
Well, that was a big key thing about how I wanted to handle this whole thing. I would take it one-on-one with them because for everybody that knows me, my kids have graduated. I have no association other than being a fan that I was a Wildcat, I am a Wildcat, and I will be a Wildcat. So those three things matter right there, and that's why I would take this bull by the horns and say, hey, if you have something with me, that it is what it is. I'm not going to announce due to your decision, but I would hate to find out later on down the road this season that it was held against maybe somebody else's child because they were part of Purple Rain Sports.
You mean my child that sat on the sidelines for the whole game? He was good enough to go long snap, and he was good enough to do the kick returns, but he couldn't play his position where he was the second leading tackler in the team behind his senior. Is that who you're talking about? Because that's what I'm starting to think, and I would have never have thought that if this wouldn't come up today. I would have never thought that he could be that petty. I'm not saying that's what happened, but the biggest game of the year.
Let's just assume that it did
biggest
not
game
happen.
of the year. One of the hardest workers out there on the
Let's
field.
take the high road and assume that it didn't happen.
So we'll just move on.
I know, but it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. And
how's
wonder.
his injury or his
Injury, he was fine.
He was practicing pretty full speed. Everything.
They had two practices. He missed the Monday after his injury. He did a full practice, full speed on Tuesday.
So you're saying they had two practices for the biggest game of the year?
Yeah, they had two practices because Wednesday was a community pep rally, and then Thursday was, whatever it is they do on Thursdays, and then the Friday.
Run through.
So
Thursday usually run
he
through.
was there,
You run through.
but that kid has been there all summer, preparing for this. Hate to think that he just did it for just one game, but this is a big game, man. This is a big deal for these kids, And even though he was upset about the loss because he wasn't able to contribute. He wasn't given that opportunity. He stood on the sidelines. Your second leading tackler on the team was on the sidelines. So if you're listening, Coach Shropshire, your second leading tackler on the team was on the sidelines. So if you don't think that might have made a difference in the game, then I don't mean to be biased about just the fact that it was my kid, but whether he's my kid or not, he was still the second leading tackler on the team.
After our conversation this morning, I can tell you right now, based on what was spoken about, I won't get into all the details, but you just said if he's listening, he said he does not listen to Purple Rain Sports.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to us. We'll find out.
So it's okay.
It's okay.
Maybe he needs to listen more closely, and then he'll.
I mean, if you pick and choose what you want to hear, you're going to hear the negatives, obviously.
He'll think twice about disassociating himself with Purple Rain Sports because he's not going to find any other group of guys that promote the Wildcats more than we do. Straight up. Well, look what time it is. It's 9:00 at night. We've all been working all day. Look where we're at.
That being said, once again, I would just like to apologize to Wildcat Nation that I won't be out there in the press box. So I didn't mean to bring the mood down, but that's just the way it is. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. Going into the next segment, we'll talk a little recap about the big fiasco that happened 12 miles up the road with the green team. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back.
your next fiesta into a feast? Well, Margie Bar's Barbecue is the right caterer for your event. Enjoy some fine smoked brisket, chicken, pork ribs, sausage, and much more. In other words, you name it, we will smoke it. Margie Bar's Barbecue is owned and operated by me, Margarito Ayala Jr., and the number is 830-322-4415. Once again, the number is 830-322-4415.
Hey, Margie, aren't you forgetting something?
What's that, Ernest?
I've been around the world, and I've tasted a lot of barbecue. But this one is just worth eating.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Ernest.
Welcome back to Purple Rain Sports, Area 51, Season 4, Episode 11. Guys, just real quick, I know we got kind of off track on that, but with one last thing before I be quiet about this whole little ordeal. I don't know if anybody went to the game last Thursday and saw, some kind of extra curricular activities going on between the official, which happens to be myself, and the coach. It's kind of hard for me now that I'm on the outside. Now I don't have nothing to hold me back. But to be in that situation, both as a official and then seeing that on the next day on Friday, seeing how the officials were handled that day, how a man could be yelling more on a Thursday night on a game that doesn't mean nothing to anybody, and then everybody, which we're going to talk about, the big penalty that was called back, that the flag was raised.
The block in the back.
How you cannot yell nearly 1/4 of what you did on the Thursday.
I don't think he said hardly anything, did he?
Nah.
Oh, I was watching. I was waiting because I was like, man, I've been where that guy's at, and it was like, what? You picked the flag up? Okay.
Okay. We're
You
good.
know, that to me shows defeat.
I got a whole nother theory about everything that happened, but I don't think we have enough time for me to go over that.
You know what? Let's just jump right
Let's
into the game that just happened between the other team and your Carrizo Springs Fighting Wildcats. Unfortunately, the Wildcats came out on the losing end. It was one of the best games that I've seen probably since 2014.
The fourth quarter alone.
Yeah, the fourth quarter
Fourth
alone
quarter.
was a boxing match, and those are the type of games that you want to come out on top, and you can take all the good positives that your team fought through, and you got a young team, but unfortunately the Wildcats were 15 and the other team 19, and it happened at the very end. But let's go ahead and start off in the beginning of the game. The Wildcats kind of came out. The defense kind of held their own. Who wants to start this off?
Well, the Wildcats struck first.
Yeah. First touchdown.
Yeah.
All right. We scored pretty early. Looked good. Defense looked good, but there's no buts. It was a good start for the Wildcats. The whole game was a pretty good game. It was a back and forth kind of thing. It's one of those you're almost gonna have a heart attack, because you don't know what's really gonna happen. There are a lot of players, senior players, really stepped up, and you'd love to see that, man. Those players in different positions that really stepped up, and you want to see that when you're thinking about the future. But at that particular time, they were thinking about that game. We're worried about that game, and we did fall short, But you can't take anything away from the Cats, man. They hung in there. They did the best that they could, and there's certain things that happened at the end that could have been different. You could have maybe kicked it all the way to the end zone on that last possession. I don't know what happened there, but somebody decided to have this kid do an onside kick, or whatever it was.
I mean, whether it was called or not called, it as a spectator in the crowd, it looked like it was an onside kick.
Yeah, it was like we were like, what? WTF?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is going on? there?
LOL.
But like I don't know. We don't really need to break down the first, second, and third quarter. We'll go into the fourth quarter. And I kind of don't like to go watch football games because I ref football games, so I kind of overanalyze stuff and I see what's going on versus as a spectator. And hearing the crowd, it's humorous to me when somebody doesn't know the game or they think they know the game because they see it on Sunday and that's it, whatever.
That's not what the
But
Cowboys run.
that-
That's when we always got HEB.
Going into that game,
Sadly.
the Wildcats had, I don't know if it was third or fourth down, and we
Who
lucked
cares,
out
Albert?
with a penalty. There was an unsportsmanlike, gave us 15 yards automatic first down. So we were, I believe, at the 30-yard line, 25 or 30.
25, and then another
We got
15 because
and then another
Lopez
15,
got a.
and then another 15.
Yeah.
So we in 3 plays,
Wow.
in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, in a crucial time of the game, the Wildcats lucked out and got 65 yards in penalties,
free yards.
Oh, that's good.
which put us in to the position that we were in.
I have something to say about that little time frame.
Okay.
If a kid is down because he took a hard hit, shut the hell up, man. You had guys in the stands yelling and cussing and all that stuff while this kid was still down. You know,
yeah.
give the kid the respect and till he gets up, then you say what you need to say or don't say anything at all. But all the cussing and the yelling and calling them cheaters and calling them all this and that.
That
I mean,
doesn't
come
make
on, man.
anything other than to make the whole Wildcat Nation kind of put a sunny cloud over
If
us,
you
know?
keep that up, then Coach Abshire is going to disassociate himself with the whole
From all the
damn
fans.
family, you know.
You might be banned from the stadium.
Hey,
You better hope that your kid was a senior.
I mean, it would, like you say, overall, yeah, it was a hell of a game from the beginning. It became to be a defensive game in the beginning. Is what 7-6.
Yeah.
It stayed that way till halftime, and then fast forward to the end. The turning point was a back-to-back unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that gave us 65 yards, but it did motivate the kids to work
Yes.
hard, drive it. That last pass.
Oh my God.
Hey,
I didn't think Mark was gonna complete it, and he threw it
That
where
was the best pass.
He threw it to that
boy
corner.
all year long.
Ethan
Yeah.
Aguilar played
Ethan Aguilar
like
played.
a man possessed in that
Yeah,
game.
he
And
was
my
on
hat
fire.
Goes off, my hat goes off to
That-
him. Like
Everything goes off to him, man.
He was
Ethan
on fire.
Aguilar Was the man in that game. He played. He put the team on his back, and like I said, unfortunately, we came out on the losing end of it. But we can't take anything away the way the Wildcats played. They never gave up.
They never gave up.
They stayed in the game. They kept themselves in the game, and we touched on the coaching subject, and you know, a coach can only call a play, and your kids have to execute it. If you called the play and it was there were several times that people were yelling or whatever. Hey, I as a football fan knew that was the right play.
Yeah.
The play was there. Either it was a high throw or somebody dropped the ball or what. But that play was the right play for that possession. With that being said, going into the last drive, Double J and I wish that he would come over and give his intake on this. But if I'm going to go to your store, you own a store, and I'm going to go to your store and I'm going to go in there 4 times, and the first 3 times I do the same routine and I steal it and I'm successful, what should you do the 4th time that I go in there? And you know that I'm stealing from you, what should you do?
Switch it
You're
up.
going to follow me. You're going to put people somewhere to make sure that you catch me stealing, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And if I steal for the 4th time, whose fault is it? Is it my fault for stealing or your fault for not catching me? It's your fault for not catching me.
Yep.
So these guys ran the same play 4 times right down our throat, and we lost the game.
Yep.
Fool me once, shame
What's-
on you.
what's the
Fool me
difference?
twice, shame on me.
what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing and expecting different outcomes.
Yes, sir. Very
Damn.
much so.
I was gonna say Sam Castro. That's the definition of insanity. But
That's just the whole thing. And like I said, the whole purpose of Purple Rain Sports is to promote you guys that are actually playing the game. We've played our sports before. Our days are gone.
We're done.
The closest I get, or the closest I got to the game, was officiating and announcing the game. That's where I was. You're gonna see when you grow up that the game has passed, but the memories remain. So we don't take anything away from you guys. All season long, you gave it your all. Little Dynamite, Ethan Aguilar, man, Markey, Maldonado, these guys, and I hope not to leave anybody out. Number 45, Jesse Lopez.
Jesse Lopez.
You know, Jesse Lopez, man, I feel so bad for him. I used to be a tight end back in the day.
J.P. John.
This man
Senior.
had a wide open touchdown, and, you know, the throw just wasn't there. But, you know, he's always going to remember that memory of what if I would have caught that ball. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I remember going back in your day, you were tight end for one day and then back on the line, son.
yeah. Hey,
Get
but
back.
I did make some catches against Memorial and Edgewood.
Yeah, but we're up 56-0,
Hey,
dude.
man, I caught the ball, Brian.
In the
Hey,
first
can I tell you
quarter.
a real quick story, real quick. On one of those throws, and I will tell you, this is a true story, man.
Is a Beckham catch?
I was a 44 tight end dump. I ran my route. I turned around. Justin Brown threw the ball. I caught it, and I broke a couple of tackles, and it was me and one other. I used a safety, a little small guy, and I swear to you, I wish that I could find the video of it. But in my mind, I was going to run this cat over. And all I had to do was go ahead and angle to get in the end zone. All I had to do was cut an angle. That's it. And what did I want to do? I wanted to run over this fool.
He cut you.
Right? So I'm going, and I see this guy, and he just squats down. Like a little spring, he squats down. And I tried to hurdle this dude before hurdling was cool. Well, guess what? I was not successful. And thank God
2-inch
I was
vertical.
still able to give 2 boys out there in this world because of where he hit me. I landed on the 3-yard line, and I'll always remember that place. So, little guy, you got me out there, man. You did good, and you scarred me for life.
That's the thing.
You're always the one.
You got over aggressive. You wanted to run him over
Yeah.
instead of doing your job. Instead of doing your job and going to the pylon or getting to the edge,
So,
you try to run over this guy,
once
and
again,
you learn.
that is never our intention. We don't ever try to make you guys feel that doubt yourselves, doubt the value of athletics, of hard work. We appreciate what you do. Why do you think that it's, right now 9 o'clock and we're here where we're at talking about you guys? So once again, on behalf of myself and Purple Rain, I don't know if the guys want to chime in on that. I would personally like to thank you guys for allowing me to be able to announce y'all's names and to try to bring joy to this community, man, whether it was a positive outcome or a negative outcome. We're all in the same book, and we're all going to end up in the same spot one day or another,
Regardless of what happens and what decisions were made today, Purple Rain Sports, we're not going anywhere.
We're not going away.
We're going to continue to do our show. We're going to promote the Wildcats as best that we can. We did have plans of maybe trying to do something with basketball and softball, but, if we're not allowed to do so, then it wasn't because we decided not to do so. But we are going to stick around. We're going to do whatever it is that we can do to promote, the sports, the Carrizo Springs area, everything, but we're not going anywhere.
Okay, Wildcat fans, stay with us. We'll take a quick break, but before we go, here's a quick word from our friend from KSAT 12 Sports, Mr. Larry Ramirez.
Hey guys, I just want to tell you, make sure you check out Purple Rain Podcast. These guys are the best as they keep you up to date, the latest and greatest sporting news from Carrizo Springs. Seriously, give them a listen.
No matter where you are, you depend on 911 to help you in an emergency. You need help quickly when seconds count. That's why we want you to know about Carrie's Law and how it can help ensure that all Texans have direct access to 911 in an emergency. By September 2016, all businesses with multi-line telephones must provide direct access to 911. That means no additional outbound numbers such as 9 plus 911. To find out more, visit texas911.org.
Welcome back to Purple Rain Sports, Area 51, home of number 51, Season 4, Episode 11. Guys, in this segment, we will be talking about other Wildcat Sports, which would be the volleyball team, which did very, very well this year. They played yesterday in Divine against Navarro. And does anybody know the results on that? I know we were.
Well, they
Well,
did fall short. They did
We
lose.
fell short, and I believe we lost. But still, congratulations on a great season. They beat that other team up north for the third place spot. So they went in as a third place seed into this tournament.
And they did,
And,
they had
and
nothing
that's
to lower
a-
their heads on. They did
That's
exceptionally
a young
well.
group of girls also. So that's another thing that we're going to be looking forward to for the next couple of years.
That whole team's coming back.
And we would like to congratulate the coaching staff of the volleyball girls. Did an outstanding job.
Lisa Haley, Coach
Nothing
Cruz.
bad that we could talk about with those girls.
Not at all.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
So
They're my MVPs.
Yes, sir.
all day.
And also
we
we
do
like
need
to
to give a shout out to our sponsors because we wouldn't be here without our sponsors. We have the 911 Mr. Rallo Diaz, thank you for that. So
You can text it. You can call it. I don't know.
Mr. Matthew Science from Money Graphics, hooking it up. Get your T-shirts, get your caps, get your cups, all that good stuff. Shout out to Margie Bar's Barbecue. Margie, barbecue, catering, smoked brisket, smoked chicken,
Mollejas.
smoking turkeys, whatever you want, he gonna smoke it for you. So shout out to Margie Bar's Smoking D's Competition Barbecue in the house, tearing it up this last couple of weeks. So shout out to Mr. Rick De La Fuente and his wife Gabriela for always supporting Purple Rain Sports. Who are we missing?
The Carrizo Springs Javelin.
The Carrizo
Springs
Springs
Javelin.
Miss McDaniel, Claudia, and she's married to some guy named Howard McDaniel.
Hey, just real quick, I don't have it, but everybody was talking about that video that went viral. Like, I don't know, I think it's got like 900,000 hits.
Oh, the dance.
Yeah.
The dancing. Yeah.
You know, which I kind of have had mixed feelings about it when it first started, but you know, whenever I was talking about it, everybody was like, "Man, you know what? That looks cool." My sister's from New Braunfels, and she was saying that her daughter and her friends were talking about it on how much fun they looked like they were having.
What dance? What are you talking about?
They did like a big old
cumbia
at that
and
community
At the
pep
community pep
Oh,
rally.
really?
rally.
Yeah.
It was like
wow.
kind of like a cumbia.
It
It
went
was
viral.
on Kins 5. It's on the website for Kins 5, and I think they might have featured it on one of like
On
the
Fox,
late
Fox
the late
29.
episodes of their newscasts. But it hit a lot of views.
I want to say that somebody said that it was almost like maybe 100,000
Yeah.
short of a million
Yeah.
views.
Well,
Yeah.
by the time Claudia posted it after the pep rally, it was about 9:00. About this time that she posted it already had 40,000 views
Wow.
at that hour.
Well, it took off.
At that hour, because she posted it, you know, and yeah, it took off. So
But you know what? That's what small town is all about. Like people in a big city, yeah, you have the winning traditions or whatever, you know, on their definition of high school football. But down here in a small town, it is what it is, and we like to have fun and you know,
It's family.
It's family. Everybody's family. You know what I mean? So let's all stick together. We hope everybody goes out to Frank Carter Stadium.
Well, you know, I didn't see that video, but I know somebody else that didn't see it because he can't see very well. Mr. Adán Sanchez. He couldn't be here with us tonight, so we're always thinking of you. I don't know what's going on.
We left him a water bottle like he
so-
always does.
Anyway, in case you haven't noticed, Adán's not with us tonight, but
He's-
shout out.
He's on assignment.
The voice of Adán was not present.
Yeah, no voice of him.
No waste of him. Also, we'll talk about cross country. You know, the little girl that freshman girl that qualified for state.
Her name is Jaylene.
Hodges.
Jaylene
I was gonna
Hodges.
get there. I was prepping up for it. You know, you got to keep the fans waiting. Jaylene Hodges, she qualified for state. It's going to be on Saturday, November 9th in Round Rock at Old Settlers Park. And it will be for Conference 4A, which is the one she's in. You're going to run the 3200. It's going to be at 12:30 p.m. on that day, on Saturday, November 9th. So this coming Saturday. You know, if you can try out to get there, if you have family members out there in Round Rock, Austin area, you know, go out there and support her, cheer her on. You know,
You know, as a freshman.
representing
That's
Carrizo
awesome.
Springs.
California State.
Jaylene, good job. Good luck, Jaylene.
Also, we'd like to congratulate the cross country coaches who did a hell of a job.
The Valerios.
Have been doing a hell of a job.
The Valerios, Miss Valerio Cruz, Coach Valerio Cruz, and Mr. Valerio,
And
with
all-
Mr. Coach Valerio.
The whole cross country team, both girls and boys.
Girls and boys.
They, you know,
Had a great season.
as Purple Rain, we would like to thank the seniors that were on those teams that started from when they were young kids running. You know what I mean? And
Yes,
they
sir.
worked their way up through the program, and hard work and dedication showed. And it paid off. So, you know, on behalf of PRS, thank you guys for y'all's service. To all the seniors that are playing any kind of sport this year, you know, we would like to take this time to thank you guys.
Yes, sir.
Because without you guys, we wouldn't be here talking about what's going on.
Yes, sir.
We'd just have drama to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk about Divine.
Divine comes into the season up into this last game 5-4. They've won the last 4 games. They won the last 4 games in district. So they won one before when they played Kennedy
So
earlier.
they're district champs.
As far as I know, even if they lost, I think they would be because they will only have 1 loss. So they're set for district championship. They came in with 5 starters on both sides. of the ball, of offense and defense. And I guess they have their own system that they run, of course, the tunnel sweep that they've ran year on and year off. Even when Quisenberry retired and Gomez took over, he was assistant of Quisenberry, so I'm pretty sure that, there was not much that changed. So that tunnel, just look for that tunnel sweep. They run it year in and year out, and if it's not broken, why you try to fix it, right? So
they run it till you stop it.
They run it till you stop it, exactly. So they're gonna come with that to Frank Carter Stadium on Friday, which is gonna be homecoming, and we'll look forward to that game. And there's not much to say about Divine because
they're
just
just
the same
champs.
every year. The same.
Well, there's not much to say about them. We would also like to welcome all the exes coming in for this weekend.
Yes, sir.
It's also going to be a nice, cool weekend. The weather's going to be football weather in the
50s.
50s.
Well, it might rain.
It might rain. It's going to rain Thursday, but by Friday
Thursday's
afternoon,
80% chance. Friday's 30% chance, and it's at the late evening, so it might rain quickly. Hopefully, get out of the way and.
Well, it's so dry out there. It's going to dry up, and look where we live in South Texas. We never get the rain. But anyways, it's going to be a good for everybody graduating the year of 89, 99. I think it's class of 94, my wife's 25th reunion, class reunion. So all those coming in, we welcome you. You can look us up. We'll be at the football game.
I was married in 99. Because I thought it December of 99 because of Y2K. I thought the world was going to end.
So you
and
had
it didn't.
Oh, they tricked you. They tricked you.
So now I'm married. No, just kidding.
You were tricked.
That's the thing I said. My wife gets mad when I see that story.
They trapped you.
No, she didn't.
It's do or die.
No, she didn't.
Like number 51 said, all the exes, coming in, please have a safe trip to and from Carrizo Springs. And, we always like to see all the exes come back. We welcome everybody with open arms. So anybody ending in a 9?
Yes, sir.
69, 79,
89,
99.
Guys, come back to your roots where it started. Come check out what's going on. Come root the Wildcats on. We look forward to seeing everybody at Frank Carter Stadium.
We can say you can find us in the stands tomorrow, Friday.
There you go.
Look us up.
Hey, it'll be a good way. Just watch a game and sit back, relax, enjoy everything. Take a deep breath and just watch the Wildcats.
There's a lot of pressure for whoever's going to do the announcing.
Good luck.
I don't think whoever does it has anything to worry about, man, because Wildcat Nation has always been Wildcat Nation, man. So you just got to get up there and say what you got to say, and you'll be all right.
You're really taking this with a lot of grace, man. I do tip my hat off to you.
It's not even about that, man.
Sam's the instigator.
It's not even about that. Like, I had plenty of time all day long. I drive an hour home and back. Guys, welcome back to the final segment of season 4, episode 11. I have an announcement real quick. I don't know if you can hear me due to this whipped cream being poured. It's going to be my stinky pick of the week, pie to the face. My time as announcer has come to an end, folks. I was notified today that I will not be announcing the homecoming game this Friday. And I can hear Mr. Castro here is expressing his displeasement of the decision, but it was not my decision. On behalf of myself, I would like to thank the guys that were with me for years and years and years, Mr. Brian Perez, Mr. Joe Cruz, Mr. J.D. Moreno and his son Jacob, and who else am I missing, bro?
JJ.
Double J, Johnny Joe Ortiz, and Mr. Sam Castro that ran the music for me the last couple of years. And Mr. Cuate Villarreal, thank you guys. It means a lot that we volunteered our time for years for the program. But unfortunately, the decision was made that they're going to go in a different direction. So on behalf of myself, I would like to thank Wildcat Nation for allowing me to come into y'all's ears week in and week out, year after year. Hope to see y'all again. We look forward to seeing everybody at Frank Carter Stadium. So with that being said, thank y'all, Wildcat Nation. And one last time, go Cats, go. And 1st and 10 for the Wildcats for the last time. Let's get this over with. Take it to the week. It's me. So it's come to that time. Somebody want to take the mic?
Go ahead.
Count it down.
3, 2, 1. There you go. Last pick for the year. Mr. BDE 760.
You said you weren't gonna hurt me, fool.
I didn't even touch anything.
Good podcast.
Guys, with that being said, thank y'all for joining us. Good podcast. Good night. And signing off for the last time. Once again, thank you, Wildcat Nation, for allowing me to do that. Look forward to seeing y'all next year. Hopefully, there'll be a different outcome. Good podcast. Good night.